Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. The Wrestling Summit is here. I am, if you don't know, you can see by my t-shirt, Brian H. Waters. I'm joined by my brothers. I got Mike. I got Corey. What's up, fellas?
Hey, what's going on? Sorry I'm via satellite, but you all get the picture, literally. But it's okay.
Corey via satellite. We've seen that before.
Hey, we leave that discussion somewhere else.
What's up, Mike?
What's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
Man, we good, man. Roman
Great.
Reigns is your champion. I'm excited. I've been waiting to talk about this with you guys on air. I mean, we've been talking here in group meetings. We talked in person. We talked over the phone, but we haven't talked as a unit. And I've been waiting to talk, and let the Twitter world know real quick. You can follow us at Wrestle_Summit and hashtag Wrestling Summit. You want to join in on the conversation. Hashtag Roman Reigns. Hashtag WWE Championship. Guys, what do you think about his title reign?
Thus far, is that what we're asking? Thus far, what do we think about this title reign?
Thus far.
I think it's been handled well. I mean, all things considered, especially considering the time period. I know we've been saying that often, but especially considering the time period that we're in, I think it's been handled well. He's been interesting. Not that he has been uninteresting at other times, but he's been interesting as champion, and I haven't mind watching him. So I think they've been doing a good job.
Me, and I know us, we're in the minority here, and finally him having an opportunity to do what he's doing. I think, along with the Wizard there, I agree how they've handled it thus far is great. And, I think they dropped the ball on Survivor Series for the tournament. I think in what we're looking at towards the Royal Rumble, hopefully as wrestling fans, that can be the makeup. I love this whole scenario in which they've set up so far with him taking on the field at Royal Rumble. It's not exactly like Ric Flair's, but it is like Ric Flair's title run in '92 because the winner actually wins the belt. So for that much, I love it. We haven't seen it in quite a long time, so I'm excited.
You're excited now. I have to say, I don't think it's been bad. Obviously, like you guys said, given the circumstances thus far, I just wish. I'm excited to see what happens. How I think he's holding the title well. I'm interested to see when I tune in on Raw. I'm interested to see what he's doing, and that's important. I love him going against the Authority, Vince McMahon. It's real. It's natural. You beat him down. I love how they set it up at TLC with Triple H, where Roman just lost it, and he just completely lost his mind because he's a nice guy, but how much could you take? How much more of getting beat down by the powers that be could you take before you say, you know what, I had enough?
Ask your boy Daniel Bryan. He knows, right?
Pretty much.
And that's what I think, and that's what I mean. I think Roman is doing a good job with that.
Well, I love what he's done with that and how that's all come along. And the best part about that with the Authority and how that happened is that everyone hates the Authority typically. So it was good how that brought Roman out of the dark side, if you will, with wrestling fans of bullying him at every step that he made. He got the pop that he, richly deserved, honestly, in my opinion, as people loved him in the beginning, then turned on him. And, as wrestling fans, we know it wasn't technically Roman's fault. He was just wrong place, wrong time. He became the front of social media's hate towards, Daniel Bryan not being what the people wanted. So I'm completely happy with how they did it. No fights out of me on that one, Corey.
Yeah. Honestly, the way Roman got the belt, I mean, like we said before, I mean, it seems like they probably had a plan all along. Gotta let things develop, as I've constantly said on here before. The way Roman got it, I thought it was done well. They didn't make any mistakes. They didn't force anything out of the natural, other than, hey, we got this we've got Vince here. He's an authority figure. Roman's so angry. He pretty much goads him into giving him a title match, and he gets the belt.
Right.
It's simple and effective. I like it.
Yeah, I loved it. I think him beating Sheamus really helped. He could have, let's just say for, giggles, Kevin Owens would have won the title. Or even, I ain't going to say Alberto Del Rio, I'll say Kevin Owens.
Okay.
People would have been upset. People would have been upset because they like Kevin Owens. But you take an organic heel that somebody can't stand. That's what I like about the League of Nations. They are all natural heels, heels
Mhm.
that you hate because you're supposed to. None of them are cool heels.
Right.
Maybe Alberto Del Rio, maybe.
No, I wouldn't even force that. He's natural too. Nah, you got it
He's
right.
natural, but wrestling fans can appreciate a Del Rio just because he kind of reminds you of the newer $1 Million Man. So
Hmm.
maybe some people might like him, but for the most part, you're right. Nobody likes none of these heels. So you put the belt on Sheamus. Sheamus annoys you, and I say for me, he annoyed me, but he was funny with the Sheamus 515. I thought it
Yeah.
was great. I can say it now because he's not champion, so I ain't gotta.
Oh, look at you.
Well, I thought
Here
it
you
was
go.
great because it made me annoyed with him more, and he did his job, and that made Roman Reigns look good. And I legitimately marked out when Reigns became WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
Legitimately? You marked out legitimately?
I marked out. I couldn't wait. Like I was telling you guys, I couldn't wait the next day to show my son the video
I remember
and
that.
to see
Hmm.
his reaction. But I jumped up because to me, it's nothing like a title change. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It's
Hmm.
nothing like it. I love wrestling. As long as it's not nobody I don't like, but
And
even if
free.
it's somebody I just casually like, I love the title change. It's just something about it. It's
Oh,
like
it
a
was
home
good on
run.
TV too. It was good on TV too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I mean I watched it back later. It was.
Yeah.
Because
So.
remember I went, so it was definitely a different atmosphere than what it was in January when I was there. That's for sure.
I was going to ask you, what was the atmosphere like when he won the belt? Being, what was it, Philly or Brooklyn?
Yep, Philly,
Philly,
Philly.
Philly, because they said he came back. What was it like?
Hmm. It was almost as if it was a face that they had been building to get the championship, and the fans had been behind them all along. That's how different it was. It wasn't like you forgot that they had to work to put the fans behind him. That's
Hmm.
how it felt, because it almost felt as if Roman Reigns was the guy chasing the belt all along anyway, instead of it being within the last couple of months. So for them to be able to change the minds, and once again, simple yet effective, you plug in Vince McMahon into the storyline, and you got instant heat for
Right.
the guy he's against. So I thought they played their trump card in a sense. They played their ace, and it worked.
Now, as we look forward to the Royal Rumble and we look at Roman Reigns, first of all, I'm going to ask you guys, how do you feel about this match?
As I stated, I love history.
Hmm.
Um, I love the fact that so many fans think that it's a foregone conclusion that Roman wins. I think that's a joke in itself. I think anytime you have Brock Lesnar, anytime you have one versus 30, it's essentially what his shirt says, one versus all. You have to not think. You have to think, if anything, he's not winning this. If Cena was placing his match, I would have a hard time thinking Cena would win. So I really have a hard time backing Roman 100%. Now, if he wins, hey, it proves that he's supposed to be what they've been building him for the last 2 years, that he is that guy to beat. I'm looking forward to this. I can't wait to see it, Corey.
Um, well, here's the thing. I'm going to play that guy and counter argue with that and say that it's almost that as if it's not foolish, but it's funny that a lot of people think that it's so obvious that Roman won't win because he's still the champion. The storyline is still built around him. So I could easily see him winning this. However, I do think that they're going to start. I think this is just the beginning, because usually February kind of not falls off, but they kind of use that as, okay, we have a pay per view here, so we're going to use it. But they really use that 6 weeks or so in between February and WrestleMania to do anything major. I think they go away from that this year with the lack of talent. I mean lack of talent as in
People are
with so
hurt.
many stars. Yes, that's what I mean. I think they use February to keep people engaged, and I think this entire period from Royal Rumble all the way to WrestleMania doesn't have any fall offs, and it'll be entertaining. I think this Royal Rumble is only a piece. It's a big piece, but I think it's only a piece.
I'm sorry. I can't find where there's a definite that he's going to go into WrestleMania as a champion.
Mm-hmm.
To me, when it comes to fans and fans' reactions and how fans go crazy over things, retaining a title at Mania means a lot less than winning a title or winning a title at Mania. So I think it's really easy to think that he doesn't win. I think that that's just wrestling fans in general, not you. I know that I know you have a lot of intelligence when it comes behind your wrestling prowess. But other wrestling fans just want to find a reason to not like something just because. You know what I mean? And I don't think this is one of those just because kind of moments where I can just sit here and say, oh, you know how they were. Everybody was like, oh, God, here we go. He's going to win the Royal Rumble and blah, 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 blah. I don't know, because Brock Lesnar's there. And I know people say, well, then you always like to give it to Brock. I don't know about that. I wouldn't be surprised if no one won the Royal Rumble.
That, you know what? That's so funny you say that. That is so funny you say that, because I can easily see it being something along the lines of it, which is why I said February will end up being important, because it'll be some kind of double elimination or something, or some kind of maybe, and just throwing it back for the historians, something along the lines of Royal Rumble '97 when Austin illegally went back in, and they went ahead and used the last four guys.
So long ago.
Yeah, I know, right? They went ahead and used the last four guys to set up the Fatal 4-Way pay-per-view for February, and it was Austin, Brett, Vader, and Taker for the belt, and Brett ends up winning it, but Austin wins the Rumble. Something along that line, like you're just saying, Mike, that there ends up not being a winner, and like maybe the last two or the last four fight for the belt at the next pay-per-view. That's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, it's funny because you bring out that Royal Rumble, and I always think about Vince Russo said in his book that Brett was supposed to win the Rumble, but because on the WWE Live Wire, Vince made the prediction, said oh, Brett's going to win, and McMahon got upset, was like, what are you doing? You're giving away the results. He was like, everybody knew Brett was going to win, but, nonetheless, looking forward to this, I don't know, man. I have a gut feeling Roman will lose. I think you see. All right, so.
There it is.
So let me put my hopes in, but then everybody gonna say it's me marking out. So what? We all mark somewhere.
You know what?
I would like to see Roman lose the Royal Rumble. I'd like to see Brock Lesnar win. Everybody who knows me knows what match I want to see at WrestleMania, despite what everybody else says. That's Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar.
Oh, well, see, you know what? We all say that.
and then give me Triple H and Roman at WrestleMania. But Triple H is my wild card. I just got this gut feeling. I could see him winning. Yeah, I could see him winning it.
He could win it.
And then that sets up for Roman and Triple H to main event WrestleMania. I mean, that's been kind of the way, like, those two have been waiting to get on this collision course. So why not have it on the ultimate stage?
And I think that makes the most sense also, Brian, because we know that the talent pool is being drained, right? We don't know 100%. I think this is also a wild card to go with your Triple H wild card, Randy Orton. Okay, I think people looked at the stage on Monday night and just automatically assumed that was your field, and I'm like, there's no way that's the field of the Royal Rumble and what we see on stage. You know what I mean? Like, we know a lot of them will be there, but there's going to be at least 5 guys, 6 guys we didn't see on the stage, especially with the wrestling show that happened over the weekend where we saw AJ Styles actually saying he was going to the Royal Rumble. You know what I mean? Or hoping that he will be in the Royal Rumble. Like, okay, I'm kind of alluding to the fact that he's been signed, but he's not sure if he's going to be in that match or not. But I think not only that, because with the way the talent pool is, it's got to be Brock Rock. Because to me, nothing else sells WrestleMania if you don't have the other names. You don't have a John Cena right now. You don't have, you know what I mean? So you got to spread it out as much as you possibly can. And with all due respect towards Daniel Bryan, I'm a huge fan of him. I just don't think Brock and Daniel sells.
What? Are you crazy?
Are
you crazy?
We're talking about Jerry Jones' world. We're talking about WrestleMania. I'm not. If this was WrestleMania and everybody was healthy, I would probably be on your side. But you have to look at where we're going right now. Who do you give The Rock? The Rock's already said he's going to wrestle at WrestleMania. If you don't give him Triple H before the title the title picture reasons, then who else does Rock wrestle against? There's no one else, even on his level, other than Brock Lesnar, that would sell you, not you or me, or Corey,
Mm-hmm.
a different wrestling fan? What will give the average wrestling fan who just tunes in during this time, they're out there, the CME members of wrestling, okay? For those who don't know, that's Christmas, Mother's Day, and Easter for those who go to church on those days only, okay? Type wrestling fans that only tune in between January and April. And they go, oh, there go The Rock. Oh, who's The Rock fighting? Oh, he's fighting Brock Lesnar? Oh, I'm going to that. Not, oh,
See,
Brock
I think,
Lesnar is fighting Daniel Bryan?
in all honesty, I would never say that Daniel Bryan's on the level of The Rock, right?
Of course not.
I'm going to take The Rock out of the equation and
Okay.
say that he's not been mentioned. What I'm saying is Daniel Bryan versus a Brock Lesnar would sell because people love a good David versus Goliath story.
I agree.
And the people tune into Monday Night Raw during this time. Daniel Bryan, he's the guy, one of the few guys where you can give him, he can sell ice to an Eskimo. People always talk about his promo skills, and they might not be up to par, but he has found ways to entertain and like taking a team like Team Hell No and making that worth it. And that's the reason why I say that yes, these two, they could work it out and they would make money. Now, I will say this into your Rock point that if given the option, if I had to say which one's going to make more money, of course I'm going to say The Rock versus Brock Lesnar.
But what they're in business for? They're not in business for you and I. We've seen that over the last 2 years as far as storylines are concerned.
No,
they don't care about us.
Right, but I don't think. But at the same time, like having that match at WrestleMania in the main event, I think the novelty of The Rock has worn off. We're not as excited to see him. If this was WrestleMania 27 and you said we're going to give you in Jerry's World The Rock versus Brock Lesnar, I think you would have sold out the place in a matter of minutes. But
I give you that, but the place is almost still sold out though.
It's going to sell because it's WrestleMania. But I'm saying the velocity of how fast it was sold.
I got you.
I just don't think The Rock has that. I'm not going to say he doesn't draw, but
of course.
That drawing card isn't as high as it was.
What you're saying for those who what you're saying, you're putting that very well. So don't think that you're not. I get exactly what you're saying as far as it's not 27. It's not what do we go? It's not 28 either. You know what I'm saying? Like it isn't. But I still think the match that we've never really got the rematch of after SummerSlam. You know what I mean? I think. In the eyes of most wrestling fans. And again, I know maybe it's in the back of my mind, so I think it's a lot of back of the mind of the so-called smarts of the world, smart marks of the world. Oh, we don't want to put Daniel in that kind of situation. We're getting hurt. You know what I mean? And that's truly where I don't want to see that match because whoever wrestles Brock is going to Suplex City.
Well, here's the thing.
Daniel Bryan go their route.
Here's the thing. I think if anybody, and this is me, I think if anybody can be in the ring with Daniel Bryan and keep him safe, it's Brock Lesnar.
Whoa, how so?
Hear me out. Hear me out. Brock's style, yes, we understand that they do the Suplex City thing. They do the whole him throwing people around. But think about it like this. He hasn't really wrestled anybody small since he's been back. Smallest person he's really been in the ring with is Cena.
Kofi Kingston.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, that was a glorified squash. Realistically, any kind of real working program, they haven't had him in the ring with anybody smaller or that can really. And I say this gimmick wise, that is a wrestler, I guess you could say.
Okay.
So with him being in there with Bryan, it's going to be a little different of a situation than the type of style of match that they have. So it's going to be more groundwork, more wrestling moves. Yes, it's obvious he can throw him around, but I think it's going to be a situation where they go against the grain and actually have a wrestling match because Brock can wrestle. It's not a thing where they're saying, oh my goodness, we can't put Brock in a ring with Bryan because Bryan's going to wrestle circles around him. No, Brock can wrestle too. So they can easily go where they can have, hey, we're going to have a classic match, much like Brock and Kurt. They wrestled. It wasn't a thing of Brock really throwing around Kurt. They had a clinic. So it can be done without necessarily doing the whole Suplex City thing. Like I said, it's just the Suplex City thing catered to the talent he was working with. So it made it look as if, okay, he's got to throw these guys around. It makes him look impressive. Him throwing around Daniel Bryan almost looks like, okay, we know you can do that. Daniel's almost 100 pounds lighter than you. We know you can throw him around.
I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure, and I understand exactly what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying. But we're giving too much credit to the writers of the WWE to say go out there and have a wrestling match. That's all, because the way he's been built, it'd be one thing. It'd be one thing is even in a match with Cena and Seth Rollins, and the match with, because I think Cena can go, and if you don't give him credit for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely
and the match with, there's been wrinkles where if they want to get back to that side of Brock, as far as, even the way you wrestle in the ring is storyline. You know what I mean? That I just haven't seen that from Brock. I know it's there. You know it's there. But are they
willing to love him for?
Exactly. And you're exactly right. We're like, okay, you're just not this next big thing. You can actually go. You know what I mean? They just haven't shown that in so long, because with the damage, and people don't want to admit this, the damage that UFC did to his career, they had to make him look like a beast again. Because
absolutely. I agree.
UFC, to me, I left UFC Brock Lesnar in, you got a glass jaw. You know what I mean?
And I'm glad you guys said that, because take somebody who didn't follow his UFC career, I would only tune in on the internet and see okay, Brock Lesnar did this, Brock Lesnar did that. I wouldn't have known that, but like what you just said, they reprogrammed, so for somebody like me who didn't know that, I was like, oh, he went to UFC, he was kicking everybody's tails. Yeah. But I'll say this about Daniel Bryan. He's healing, and he's probably in the best shape in his life right now.
I hope to God.
Because all those other times he was rushing to get back. He wanted to get in the ring, and now he's been letting his body heal. Let's not remember, and shout out, me and Dwayne Allen talk about this all the time. He's not one who drinks. He's not one who smokes. He doesn't eat, red meat. He's a vegan, so he kind of.
Well, he's not vegan anymore. Sorry, he's not vegan anymore. What? He said that a while back, that he couldn't. It's so hard to keep up with that lifestyle on the road. I mean, he's not, throwing back burgers, I'm sure, but at the same time, he's not vegan anymore. He couldn't, and I can imagine it's so hard to keep up with that lifestyle on the road that he couldn't do it.
But he take care of his body the way that God intended it to. So because of that, that's the reason why I think that we can get a new Daniel Bryan, and let's not forget, these guys are professionals. Brock Lesnar is not going to go out there, and this is the thing that kills me about wrestling fans. They talk about different ones being marks. Well, you sound like a mark when you sit up there and say, oh, Brock is going to kill him, he's going to destroy him in the ring. Brock Lesnar has a family. He understands Daniel Bryan has a wife.
Right.
He's not going to go out there and kill him, so he can't go ahead and take care of his wife. That's the bottom line.
And that's I'm saying that's what Corey was agreeing with. That's what Corey was trying to say too. He kind of knows what he's doing in the
ring. Also, to Mike's glass jaw statement, this is, and not you in particular, but I just mentioned how it's conveniently forgotten that Brock Lesnar was having a lengthy battle with diverticulitis during his UFC run as well.
And Paul Heyman brings that up.
And I know that personally. I went through that myself. Remember, Brian? I thought I had exactly what Brock Lesnar had. So, and I just had a small smidgen of it, and I'm nowhere near the athlete that he is. So, if he could take a monster like that down, you know what I'm saying? So, that's not to be spoken about that. But wait, what's going on there, Glenn? Looking spiffy down there at VCU, buddy. What? We can't hear you.
The fans are yelling. We can't hear them.
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
He's still talking. Okay, got it.
I think he gets it now.
He got it now.
Get some headphones or something, man.
Get some beats, bro. Oh, we gotta speak mime, y'all. He said I'll be back.
Glenn probably jumped in on the Wrestling Summit when I'm on the Wrestling Summit.
I think he did.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it was.
Why.
Yeah, I saw that. I looked up and said, I thought we were already here. But he'll be back momentarily. But back to what's been going on in Raw, and we haven't been here with you guys for a while. Make sure you follow us too, please. You're already listening to us. Wrestle_Summit.
Summit.
Right, he just said it right there. But what else has been going on there, Brian?
Man, so all right, I got it. Everybody knows I'm a big social media guy.
Sure.
So, and I haven't talked about this with you guys
really?
on purpose because I wanted to get your live reaction. But yeah, if you don't know I'm a social media guy, just check out the back of the T-shirt. Because I can't. But so the bottom line is they have a new group called Social Outcast.
Oh yes,
I'm a big fan of them, and everybody knows his name.
I couldn't wait to ask you guys about this, but I had to save it for the show.
I am somebody, and when I see Social Misfits, I think, thank you. I think they're just as good as one-man band could have been. Okay, I think people forget at some point how all these guys were a big deal.
Yep.
Okay, that Adam Rose was supposed to be that guy. We know he should have been Leo Kruger, but he's not. But they believe in what he can do, and he's still there. We know Bo Dallas was supposed to be huge, but he got hurt. That messed him up. We know that one-man band gets hurt, and that's what keeps him down. And everybody believes. I don't. That's the only one of the members I don't really believe in. I've never been a big, Mr. Perfect Son fan. But overall, I like the group, and that's just me. I like factions, so bring it on. I like it. I think what they're doing is good. And guess what? If for nothing else, always need good jobbers, don't you?
Oh, come on.
I'm not. I like them. I'm just saying. We know that's what they're going to be used for. They won't win more matches. They are pretty much the Job Squad 2.0.
Right. Okay, but still, it's
can you hear me now?
fresh. Yes,
we can hear you.
Yeah, we're going to give the floor to Glenn. We can hear him now.
Good. You probably got the band in the background, but it's all good.
Yeah, it's all right. So, Glenn, this is Corey. I'm via satellite. Sorry. So,
Gotcha.
we were talking about the Social Outcasts. So, yeah. So, go ahead, give your opinion.
The Social Outcast. This is my thing on the Social Outcast. I think it's good for these guys to have something to do, but I don't think the WWE is still going to use them. I think it's one of those fly-by-night groups where it's going to be hot for like the first week or two, unless they do something dramatic. The Social Outcasts probably be here maybe till after WrestleMania, and other than that, they're gone.
Wow,
If that, I don't think this group is going to catch on just based off the characters in the group. You got Bo Dallas, you got Heath Slater. I can't remember the other two people.
Curtis Axel.
Curtis Axel, who's been in every other faction for the last year. I mean, he was Damian Mizdow. He was with Damian Mizdow. He was with this group, that group. He's been in Nexus. I mean, this guy's been with he's been with Paul Heyman. That didn't work. I mean, I don't know. He's a good worker, but he just haven't caught that thing on. I think he's one of those guys WWE messed up on when he first came in, and he never lived it down. You know what I'm saying? He never lived it down. He has high expectations. He's Mr. Perfect Son.
Yeah.
Mr. Perfect Son. And so unless you came in with any other gimmick by Mr. Perfect or hide it, the people didn't know that he was his son, he got high expectations. I mean, he's a good worker, a good hand, a lot of people say, but he can't live it up. Heath Slater, another good worker. But he's been in every group, three-man band. These guys have been in faction after faction after faction, and it has not worked.
What helped the Job Squad last so long? Anybody? I mean,
wait a minute. Here's the thing.
They are the Job Squad without naming themselves the Job Squad. It's Job Squad for 2016. Those Zack Ryder in the group.
See, I think you're.
I would love it.
No. See, Mike, I think you're lending too much to nostalgia because the Job Squad never really did much either.
No,
and they weren't even around that long at all, to be honest. Al Snow just wore the shirt. And really it was a playoff of them being something that was backstage being the Job Squad, them kind of breaking kayfabe as a group, calling themselves the Job Squad. But then, WWE really wants their hand on everything. So they're like, okay, if you want to do this backstage and be your own little clip, we're going to put it out on TV and make some money off of it. So it didn't really last that long to begin with. But nonetheless, yeah. So I just want to make sure we didn't throw the Job Squad out here as an elite stable that lasted longer than it should have, because it didn't. It ran its course.
And they shut down the main event Mafia was going to be there. I mean, not the main event Mafia, the mid-card Mafia, who wanted to do something years ago. They shut that down. You know, so this to me is like something. Okay, these four guys came in the back. It worked for New Day to put them together. Let's see if it worked for us and us get together. And then you got them going against the Wyatt family. I mean, if you don't see anything else but a squash, that's what it is. I don't think they can get over. Are we going back to factions now in WWE? You got the League of Nations, you got the Wyatt family, you got social media.
I've called for it. I'm sorry. I've called for it for 3 years. I said with all the people they have there, that I saw what was it, gang warfare at that. Remember that point in the WWE?
Summer of '97.
That it kind of needed to come back because you have all these guys that are the same kind of guy. You know what I mean? Or same relevant of talent in how they push them. Where they give you to them they're hot for a month on television, then they're gone for 4 months. Then these guys hot for a month on television, they're gone. So you got to do something. If you're going to keep them, you got to do something with them. So I'm not opposed to the factions, and the WWE needs something new with a kick like that, Clint.
Yeah, they need something new like that. It's something else for the fans, the kids to get into. And I haven't been on much on WWE social media this week. Wizard, you may know. Are they doing anything on social media since they are?
Yeah, they have.
Okay.
Yeah, they have. WWE's been doing, you know, those kind of Michael Cole type sit downs and stuff with them. They've been getting some play. Remember last week on Raw, I believe it was, they went out there with the Wyatts. So they've been doing something with them. Whether the consistency stays, as I think you were mentioning, Glenn, that's left to be questioned. But they were out there at least, so we'll have to see.
And I like the fact that Ryback is there with them. You don't know what's going on with Ryback since he's kind of a main event mid-carder, if I want to use the term.
Right.
And I'm going to coin that term, main event mid-carder, so don't know why I steal it. But I mean, that's what Ryback is.
Already stolen. I give credit.
So that's what he is, and I like the fact they're getting everybody involved for the Royal Rumble, and I think that's the key because what happened, you have to introduce your 30 participants. I think I said the last time we had the summit, it was going to be hard for them to introduce 30 guys, in my opinion, into the Royal Rumble to make legitimate 30 guys to win the WWE's title. I mean, we know it's you guys, your core group of guys, but the Royal Rumble is you calling it everybody has a shot, everybody has a chance. You got to make everybody relevant.
Take me back. 1992. How'd you guys feel going into that? Was it all that? Did everybody know Ric Flair was going to win the title that night?
Okay. I guess I'll go.
Because I was only 5.
Okay, so at the time, you know, I was 7 going on 8, and at that time, you honestly didn't kind of. And looking back at it back then, when I was 7 or 8, I probably was really rooting for like Macho Man or somebody to win. Right. Considering I was, and anybody you can ask my uncle, anybody you can ask him. I never was a Hogan fan. I just wasn't. I never was a Hogan. I know. I was a Shawn Michaels fan then, and that's the God's honest truth. You can ask my uncle. I was a Shawn Michaels fan at 7 years old, so it didn't matter.
I believe you.
Yeah. So the thing is that looking back at it now, being older and able to analyze what was going on, it was fairly obvious. If people had the knowledge that they do now of wrestling that they did then, I think Flair was the choice. If it wasn't going to be Sid Justice at that time, which I don't think they were going, looking back at it, with Flair's whole mantra of being the real world champion, and then all of a sudden the belt is available in the Royal Rumble, and then you couple it with Flair's history of going 60 minutes all the time in the NWA, then he comes in at number 3 in the Rumble, and being the top heel at the time over in WWE, I think it lended to him winning the belt. But like I said, that's an analysis of, we say that in hindsight now because we know the result, and looking back at it later on, the storyline building up to it, I think Flair was the odds-on favorite.
I don't remember necessarily back then what was going on.
Quick synopsis, Mike. Quick synopsis. Flair came in September of '91.
No. I remember that part.
Okay.
I remember that part. I'm talking about as far as all the participants necessarily.
That was one of the most star-studded ones, if you remember. Yeah.
But I think the favorite was probably Hogan or Ric Flair going into that. Macho Man, a third possibility because of who they were. So,
Mhm.
like you said, if we were where we were today as far as technology is concerned, it'd
Mhm.
probably been a foregone conclusion that Flair would have won it. But
Absolutely.
again, having that Hogan factor,
Mhm.
you never know. So, you know what I mean? So, looking at that, but again, and what Glenn was saying and how you brought this question up, the Royal Rumbles haven't been star-studded in a very, very long time.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
you're lucky to get 12 guys that legitimately could win. That's why a lot people go, okay, it's between these four, between these five.
Well.
A lot of
Mhm.
years, people actually name the final 4 to 5 guys in the ring
Yeah. Well,
every single year. So
the 2008 Royal Rumble, just visiting back since we're talking Rumbles, 2008 one was pretty stacked. I mean, considering you had Shawn, Hunter, Taker,
right,
Cena, who eventually came back.
right.
You had, if I'm not mistaken, who else was in that? It was a couple of other, there's a
But you're
couple
talking
other
about
names in that.
Batista. But you're talking about a rare.
Batista.
You're talking about a rare.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree. I
Right.
agree. But
And,
that,
and
and
now
that
they
was
don't have
8
nowhere
years
near
ago.
those stars. They don't have
Yeah,
nowhere
no.
near those stars now that you could have that aura of. And that's why I think this was actually made this way, honestly. And the injuries helped it, but it was also one of them rumbles where how do you make it believable? How do you
Absolutely
make
right.
it unknown? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So you have it where the champion's involved. So at the Royal Rumble, we don't get that extra match when you take 2 stars out of the Royal Rumble. That extra star or triple threat match could be in the Rumble match, and then we get the surprises that we hope to happen. You know what I mean? I just with this, only thing I think it kills, but not necessarily, is that if you
Mm-hmm.
see Daniel Bryan's name come out of the Royal Rumble, you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna have to think, yes, he
Yeah.
finally gets what he didn't get, the belt and the Rumble again. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
absolutely. Now, what do you all think? This is just limiting the past Rumbles too. What do you all think about that rule? If I'm not mistaken, I think they may have instituted it in maybe like 2010, maybe 2009, 2010, 2011, somewhere around there, where the participants of the championship matches that didn't win the championship could later on go into the Rumble. For that brief time, they were kind of doing that. Did you? I always thought that was kind of weird. But did y'all ever notice that, or what did y'all think about that?
I mean, this is me. I thought the rule was all right because they are participants. You get a second chance. You
Yeah.
get a
Hmm.
second chance for losing. You are still in the company, and you get a second chance to win the title. I like
Yeah.
that rule.
Yeah.
I've always thought it was pretty cool too when somebody would have a match later earlier that night, and they were going to the Rumble. You could tell they're all tired, their hair is sweated
Hmm.
out. If they had face paint on, it's all peeled off and stuff. That's
Hmm.
wrestling. To me,
Well,
that
well, even,
that makes that makes the
mhm.
Rumble more real for me to see
Well,
that.
even more so, yes, definitely that. But I was even more so specifically like speaking to the person that was in the like the world championship match,
Uh
because
huh.
you didn't really see them. They were always the ones just in their championship match, but you never saw them actually enter back into the Rumble. You may have had other people that wrestled earlier in the night and then entered the Rumble, but specifically the guy that was in the championship match, you didn't really start seeing them again till maybe like 2009, 2010, somewhere around there. And they would all of a sudden enter the Rumble. And I only thought about that because I just watched
That was
not too
with like
long
Randy
ago.
Orton, right?
Yeah, I think it was the 2011 Rumble. I think I just
Randy
watched
Orton and the
recently.
Miz.
Yeah, Randy Orton did it and Dolph did it because Dolph fought
Hmm.
Edge earlier in that night, and then and that may have lended to it being 40 men as well. But
I
Dolph was in it. Hmm.
I don't like those, man. I think that takes away from it. And it's like you already had your shot. Now, I'd rather see if, even if you're in the match previously, just not the title match. That's just
Hmm.
always been my thing.
Okay, and
Okay. My question to you is that how is that any different than the Money in the Bank briefcase? If you
elaborate.
lose, you're the title match. You lose the briefcase, and you come and cash it in. To me, it's the same thing.
Well, okay, I see what you're saying. Now that would be interesting. Now if somebody tried to cash in their Money in the Bank, and you know what? And you know what's funny? I actually thought about that last year when Seth was the Money in the Bank holder. I thought, okay, Seth could potentially at the Royal Rumble have three chances to win the belt. He could be in the triple threat, lose, try to cash in, lose, then take somebody's spot in the Rumble, and then maybe win the Rumble. Like I thought it was overkill, but I said you never know. So I see what you're saying.
Yeah, now I'm with that too. If you're a Money in the Bank holder, I know it's a different thing, but I think if you're a Money in the Bank holder, you shouldn't be in the Royal Rumble. I think the Royal Rumble should be people who don't have title shots. Because technically, you're a
Hmm.
Money in the Bank holder, you're automatically a contender for the title.
Yeah, always. I always thought that was weird. You know what? And I'm glad you said that, Brian. I always thought that was a little weird, not necessarily wrong or bad, but I always thought it was little weird when the Money in the Bank holder was like the number one contender for the championship. And like he'd get a championship match, but he was still holding the briefcase. It was kind of like, okay. If he's not going to cash in after losing, why is he in this match? That's kind of what I thought of it as. But maybe that was just me. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I always thought. Um, but yeah, I just think it's interesting. Just looking forward. I'm actually, like I said, I'm looking forward to this Royal Rumble just because the title's on. I'm not happy about it being on the same week as championship is on the same Sunday as championship Sunday.
You know, I
Yeah.
was gonna comment about that too. Go ahead,
When I
Brian.
when I said that earlier, I was mad myself, and I thought somebody was wrong. And I'm currently looking at it right now. Like, is it really next week? It's the Royal Rumble.
It doesn't make a difference. Vince don't care. He has your 1099. I mean, your 999.
How you 9.99?
Yeah,
I mean,
don't try to
he
stick
got your
that dollar
999.
on
It
us.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it's on. Whether you watch it or not, he got your money.
Yeah.
Well, that's now. That's now because you notice that this is the first time I think I've seen it in a long time when the Royal Rumble's showing my age and watching wrestling wisdom type thing. When the Rumble used to be on Saturday night, or it used to be on the Sunday before
Hold on,
Martin Luther
stop.
King Day.
Did you just say you showing your age? Speak quiet.
I'm just saying. I'm just
You
saying.
just said
Hey,
you
I'm the
watched-
only one
you
that's still in my
said Royal
20s.
Rumble- You just said Royal Rumble '92. You were 5 and 7. Stop.
No, I was 7 going on 8. So
Stop.
what?
Stop it.
Anyhow, I remember when the Royal Rumble was on Saturday nights. You know what I'm saying? So I remember when SummerSlams were on Monday nights. But that's another story.
That's what I always talk about, though. I always talk about the Royal Rumble being on Saturday because I remember one specific time, the '94 Royal Rumble. I had to go to church the next day, and I remember before going to bed, Ted DiBiase saying when the Undertaker was body was put in the casket and they showed his
Mhm.
image on the screen, he said, "I might have a dream about this tomorrow night." And I remember thinking about that in church the whole day that Sunday.
So
I don't like that
see?
at all. I
See?
think, and Glenn, you just got to be the smart guy. Who's the smart guy? Like, okay, we got our money already, so he doesn't care anymore. That just that does hurt because, man, Vince, like, I don't have direct TV anymore. I can't split the TV screen, and it's not even on TV. It's on the app.
I
on the
don't think.
Xbox.
But see, Mike,
Why
I
don't
don't
you
think.
just watch the game? Watch the game on the TV. Have the Royal Rumble on your phone. Let's
No,
be honest.
or watch right after.
I
But
can't pick.
But check this out. Let's
We
be
got a
honest.
show right after. I gotta watch it. We got
No, but-
people that's gonna tune in.
But check this out. By the time the Royal Rumble actually hit, the football game be off.
yeah, that's the thing. If you're really that pressed to just tune in for the Rumble, that is when it's going to be. But I don't think that was WWE's fault that they had this schedule and it just so happened to be Championship Sunday.
That's
the NFL.
That's poppycock info.
No, I think the NFL shifts around the date of the Super Bowl so much that with the 31st, I believe, with the 31st of January falling on a Sunday now, WWE really had no choice because they're not going to really run their pay-per-view on the last Sunday of the month with it being the 31st. And with the NFL kind of having that mantra of having some kind of NFL event every month of the year. And if you think about it, January is the playoffs, February is the Super Bowl, March is the combine, April is the free agency, or no, March is free agency, April is the combine, I believe, or the other way around.
In the draft.
May is the draft. May is the draft. June is, I think OTAs. July is training camp. August is preseason. September through December is the season. So the NFL kind of strategically has that to where there's something every month. So now, because the Super Bowl being in February isn't until the last decade, if that. So, I mean, WWE kind of has to, play their cards the way they're dealt. Because they're really playing, they would love to be on with the Pro Bowl like they are usually. But it just didn't happen this year. It probably will be back to normal next year.
Well, something that caught me, guys, and you
Mm-hmm.
know, is this. Have you guys seen the farewell tour for Kurt Angle? And
Sure.
his last opponent will be Bobby Lashley.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the best that TNA can do for Kurt Angle? I know, no offense towards Bobby Lashley. Sorry, Bobby, if you're listening.
Well, who else would it be?
Just saying. Isn't pretty much the whole company still there?
Because that's the best he could do, I think.
That's the best he can do. You couldn't give him against. He couldn't go against James Storm. He couldn't go against Robert Roode one more
They're back
time.
together now.
I'm just saying. I mean, gosh, Lee, he couldn't win against the guy who can't wrestle. Oh, I'm sorry. Who's their champion? Oh, I'm sorry. All right, Bobby. I guess you're the best choice. Just thought that was kind of weird.
No,
I
yeah.
mean, that's for TNA. We all know that Kurt Angle sooner or later is going to be back in WWE. So you can call it a farewell tour. You can call it whatever you want, because you're not going to call it retirement, because he's not going to retire. He's going to get one more match in the E, and you could call it retirement. TNA can call it whatever they want to call it. I mean, so
There you have it, folks.
That's crazy.
Thought that was going on. When I saw it, I was like, "Wow, really, really, Kurt?"
Well, I mean, and I mean, hey, it's Kurt
Really?
Angle's TNA farewell. I mean,
Right.
who else non-consistent of storylines are you going to throw in there with? You got to think about that too, because every other major top guy is probably pretty much in the storyline. So,
Yeah.
yeah, just saying.
Yeah.
and we know. I mean, if the best thing they could do is let this be a shoot, because the Ken Shamrock and Kurt Angle thing is not going to work out, because Ken Shamrock is booked to fight Gracie in the next couple of weeks.
Mhm.
So let this be a shoot. You get your belt. You get your match between Bobby Lashley, your real shoot fight, Bobby Lashley and Kurt Angle.
Well, here's the thing. I'm speaking in a perfect world type situation, you guys. But has that Kurt Angle Bobby Lashley match already been taped? Because if it has, he could be one of the 30 participants in the Rumble. I'm just saying. I'm throwing out there a perfect world situation.
Well, no, that match is. Well, it could have been taped. Good point. It doesn't air until the 31st.
Yes,
It's in the UK, so.
It might not have been taped. Okay, then it might not have been done yet. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, they take 5 shows. They've taken 5 shows already. They have not taped the UK show yet.
Okay, so that means if they could be in the UK on the 31st, meaning that it'll probably happen then. Okay, fair enough.
All right. Well, that's going to be it for this episode of the Wrestle Summit. But before we go, we got to get our final thoughts. I'm going to start right from the left and move over to the right. Starting with Corey, final thoughts.
Well, I guess as a final thought, can we give Rumble predictions? Because the Royal Rumble is next Sunday.
Well, that could be the final thought. Plus,
there you go. Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb. I am, for some weird reason, not sure, but I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there. Kevin Owens is my winner to win the Royal Rumble. He's my pick. I just feel like they may go dark horse. As much as I can obviously see Roman winning it, if they were to go shock value and put it on somebody else, I want to say Bray Wyatt because it's the attractive pick, but I'm just going to be different. I'm going to say Kevin Owens. That's my final thought.
Final thoughts, Mike?
Wrestling. I like it. It's the time of the year for us to mark out, be excited, and have fun with wrestling. Remember, guys, you watch wrestling, you watch movies, you play video games, all the other good stuff to get away from the reality of real life. But let's watch wrestling and have fun and enjoy it. We don't have to fight and bicker over all the time who you think is good and who I think is good. At the end of the day, they're all who we thought they were, professional athletes and wrestlers. So that's my final thought. Winner of the Royal Rumble, if I got to pick one and I got to pick a dark horse, then the dark horse has to be Daniel Bryan.
Okay.
Yeah, Brian, I stole your thunder.
Yeah. Hey, I got my Daniel Bryan reference.
Hey, final thought of the night, man. I think this year's Royal Rumble is the most anticipated Royal Rumble, in my opinion, in the last 10 years. For me, anyway. Because it's something that we haven't seen in a while. I haven't seen before. The champion is being inside the Royal Rumble. There's no, people pointing at the sign, I'm going to WrestleMania and all that other stuff to face the champion. You could be the champion leading out going into WrestleMania 32 from Dallas, Texas. If I had to pick a winner, my dark horse is the Undertaker. I think Undertaker comes back and win the title and goes into WrestleMania as a champion.
To fight Sting.
Undertaker.
Hey Mike, I look like a genius now. 'Cause I told you that wasn't gonna happen.
Well, my final thoughts is, I can't wait to see Raw tomorrow night. Hopefully, we will see a great go home show. And I'll end this. I'm not going to pick somebody who everybody chose. I'm saying the title is going to stay right there where it was, and it's going to go to Roman Reigns. That is
Okay.
my pick to win
Fair
the
enough.
Royal Rumble. But ladies and gentlemen, our time is up here on the Wrestling Summit. Make sure you tune in next week to our post show as we react to the Royal Rumble. So long, everybody.
Fingers.